Welcome to Honest Feedback, a podcast here for you. We are here offering advice on alternative perspectives for whatever is on your heart and mind.
I'm Lisset King, and I'm an emotional ninja. I help leaders release baggage and heal unresolved trauma so they can live and love their life of purpose.
I'm Goddess Brittney King, and I'm a pleasure priestess. I help women connect to their deepest truths, their sensuality, their sexuality, and hold the sacred union of both.
Hi, welcome back to Honest Feedback.
Yes, I'm so happy to be here, sharing, caring. What are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about, the growing pains you go through when you're the one going through your growth journey and maybe like your family or your tribe haven't been there.
Yeah.
And how challenging that can be.
Yeah, I don't even know if that even stops. But the first time it happens, it's stark.
Yeah, it's super jarring. Mm-hmm. What experience of that do you have?
I remember certain family and friend members very much feeling that I was experiencing a mental breakdown.
Oh yeah, I remember
wanting
that.
Me to be committed.
Oh, yeah.
Because they were like, You've never been gay before, and and what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, well, you're happy. It was so stark, and the things that I was sharing about, you're in your growth space, you can sometimes get very excited. I felt really excited about the things that I was learning, like I can create my own reality, and lots of things that were really supportive and expanding for me, and my family and other close friends were like, bitch, you crazy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember just spreading the good word that you don't have to suffer.
Yeah.
That suffering was optional.
Oh, people don't like that.
Revolutionary. Yeah, I know. It upset a lot of people. I lost a lot of friends early on. And you get so excited about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that is what we are diving into today. And I'm really excited because we have one of Lissette's really close friends here with us.
Yeah. We're going to give Kyle Tennyson a call. And let me just read a little bit about his bio. First of all, I just love him. He is a queer brother, and his background is as a registered nurse in LGBTQ health. He's a transformational coach, NLP, hypnosis, energy work. He's one of the people I turn to for my work specifically. And he specializes in working with queer men to overcome their self-sabotage and end the people-pleasing lifestyle so they can live an authentic, empowered life.
Here for it.
Yeah.
Yes, we're down with the people pleasing.
The Lord's work. Yeah.
Yes.
Are we down with people pleasing or down with people pleasing?
Boo.
Boo, people pleasing. Yeah. Who do we become when we're not people pleasing?
Yes. Yeah. Which is, I feel like, exactly what's at the crux of this person's call. So, or did they write? They texted us.
They text us right at the crux of this person's question. Yes.
So shall we give Kyle a call?
Yeah, let's.
Hello, it is your favorite pleasure priestess, Goddess Brittney King. I would like to share with you a sacred opportunity to join me and other amazing goddesses at a luxury retreat just outside of Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. You are invited to Permission. This is an opportunity to give yourself the ultimate gift, permission to be unapologetically you. From October 23rd to the 27th, you can join us for an unforgettable experience in luxury with epic rituals, life-changing workshops, soul-nourishing practice, and really, really great food. Yes. These things will awaken your senses and ignite your passions. Permission is an intimate container with limited spaces so that everyone gets personalized attention. So if you are ready to step into your power, to unleash your desires and claim everything you've wanted, the time is now. Come to my website, goddessbrittneyking.com, and that's Brittney, Brittney, King.com for more information and to schedule a call to find out if this is the best fit for you. The opportunity is yours. Welcome to Honest Feedback Podcast. We're so happy to have you.
Oh my God, I'm so happy to be here.
Yay! Well, Lisette just shared, a little bit about you, but in your own words, do you want to say how you be loving people in this world, professional at least?
Sure. Yeah, I'm a transformational coach, and I used to be a registered nurse, and I just needed to fine tune those gifts into helping my community really level up in a really meaningful way. So I follow my passion. That's really what I do.
Oh,
Yeah,
love that.
yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, find your true north.
Yeah.
exactly.
Guided. Yeah, love that. Well, thank you for being on. This is a topic that I know is very passionate. You're very passionate about, and we are as well. So you cool to answer this question? Brittany's going to read it.
Okay. Dear Lisette and Brittney, what do you do when you realize that the friends or family you were closest to are now more of a reflection of the old you and not the new you? How do you move on from family and friends you love and not necessarily cut them out of your life, but prioritize forming a new circle of relationships? I've done a lot of growth work and reflecting, and I'm realizing that some of the people I call my best friends are actually the deepest mirrors of my old paradigms. How I used to talk to myself, my fears of expansion, restriction, defensiveness, etc., etc. I love them, and I need help detaching and braving the time between friend circles. Signed, Up Leveling.
Up leveling, dear up leveling. Well, I really love this question because it's something that I have struggled with a lot, and I feel like, even since teenage years, when I was kind of coming to terms with my sexuality, I had all these people around me that I loved, but also found myself not really resonating with, and so the struggle can be real as you try to navigate that. And more recently, I've been realizing that I am surrounded by chosen family and the power of chosen family, and how deeply I'm held by those people, and how blessed I am for it. So, how did I even get there? Um, I think more than anything, it's just like the more true you are to yourself, the more you resonate with your authentic frequency, the more you're going to find yourself around people who are that you resonate with. And so the answer is always going to start with internal work. It sounds like this person has been doing some of that work, and now they're finding that their family and their friends are not resonating so much. And I think that's a pretty natural thing. And there's a lot of ways you can kind of approach this or handle it. Um, you don't have to cut people out, and you also have to do everything you can to stay true to yourself, right? And so, yeah, would you want me to share some like personal experience, or like how?
Yeah,
But why can't we cut them out?
Totally.
I'm just
You 100% can.
no, I mean, like,
Yeah.
I'm curious about your own personal experience with navigating this, particularly with, like, family and close friends. Yeah, like, what was your experience, and what was the expansion space that you were stepping into where you started to notice I'm not necessarily resonating with those who I thought were closest to me?
Yeah, well, I think the realization came a long time ago, and then the expanding into myself has been like a lifelong journey, and I think it's going to continue, right? So, most recently, though, I've found that so my parents split recently, and so that's kind of caused a ripple through family dynamics and things, and I'm 2,500 miles away from my closest relative, so I'm pretty far away, and so it's difficult to like stay in touch. And I always felt like so much responsibility and so much guilt, and I resented myself for like not staying in touch with people. And what I realized more recently was that like that's okay. I think just accepting it for what it is, like accepting your parent or your old best childhood friend for who they are, and allowing that to just be what it is, and accepting it, and understanding that it may never change. I think in my heart, I hold on to this idea that, if I do my inner work, that's going to reverberate beyond me into my community. And it does in my chosen family here. And my hope then is that it reverberates into my blood family as well. And if it doesn't, that's okay. And that's the acceptance piece of it. I think for me, the part around like how to know like when to cut them out or when I don't have to cut them out is comes first with like some forgiveness work and like clearing the noise in my head and maybe any resentments or shames or whatever that I'm carrying around. And once I have that out of the way, I can tap into like what really resonates with me. The resonance that I have, or like the shared resonance that I have with a family member that I don't really connect with anymore might be the weather, and we can call and like talk about the weather, or I can talk about this, my treehouse, my tiny home that I live in, and like the new things that are happening here. And I don't share a lot about the rest of my world because they don't get it. They don't want to hear about it. And it's just easier, but I can still have a connection with them, and that can actually feel pretty good without making them like without expecting them to be everything that a good father or mother or brother is supposed to be, quote unquote, right? um I think that this here's an idea that I hold close to my heart as well, is that healthy boundaries. And we talk about boundaries all the time, and almost too much so, I think, in some ways. And I like this reframe of boundaries that came across my reality a few years ago. I don't remember where I got it from, so if this is yours, thank you. So the reframe on boundaries is like, rather than like a line in the sand where it's like, you can't talk to me this way, or like I'm not ever gonna connect with you in this way. It's like this like hard cutting out, and it's kind of aggressive, and it can be hurtful. And instead of that, the reframe is, boundaries are bridges, and it's an invitation to connect in a way that feels safe and feels uplifting to me. And so it's like, hey, like this is where I'm available. And right now it might be email. Like I can't talk to you on the phone. Like I'm available for email. I would love to connect with you on email. Let me know what's going on in your life. And you might have some lines in there like, my mom isn't allowed to talk to me about my dad because she'll only complain about him, right? Like they just got divorced, and it's cool. I get it. I want to validate her feelings, but I'm not available for that. So instead, I'm just like, hey, I'm available to talk about the grandkids and like what's going on in your world and your new house. And like, there's so much that we can connect on. And I think before I was really getting tripped up on all the things I couldn't have. And now more recently, I'm recognizing like, oh, actually, if I just stay focused on the stuff that is enjoyable, and I can enrich that with both of our lives, and we actually can still have a connection without that sense of loss, I guess.
Yeah.
I love that. I think what that's lighting up in me is this, the caller, the person who wrote in this question, what they had to say was this like feeling of loss. You start to feel it first, and in the beginning, I remember that feeling of like, I cannot relate to this person anymore, or it seems to be dragging me down when they're reflecting back to me like, oh, fuck, we used to just complain together, didn't we? Or
Totally.
yeah, we
Yeah.
used to just talk about like the worst things that happened or being broke or shit like that. We would commiserate on things, and then feeling this like air of separation of I don't want to talk at that vibration anymore.
Hmm.
And what can I talk about? Where can we like switch topics that I know is a safe zone for like, let's talk
Yeah.
about the house, the tree house, what I'm working on in this moment, like my new job or whatever it is that's current for you. But that I just remember that frustration of like, oh, I feel like I'm a Sagittarius too, by tropical. And sometimes that like, the Sag way is just like, well, I'm done with you.
Yeah.
I am complete
Yeah.
with this experience. Goodbye forever,
Yeah.
and
I
so
felt that way too with like, there's like, I just wanted them to to mess up. I just wanted them to like be, am I allowed to swear? I keep like holding it back.
Yeah, no.
Okay,
Which
cool.
is good.
I just wanted them to fuck up so that I could tell them to fuck off, really is what I wanted. And they never really did that. They just kind of stayed status quo, and which was even more maddening for me personally. But yeah, exactly what you're talking about, just like finding the places where you can connect. And that also allowed me to like unfold my present space here with my chosen family and realize then it's like, oh, I actually have everything that I've wanted from these, core childhood people, and they haven't been able to give it to me. I have all of those needs met here, right around me. And that's where, chosen family to me is so beautiful. It's, yeah.
Well, I feel like there's a delicate space that this person is writing about because they haven't found the new people.
Mm,
They don't have the new people yet. They're just surrounded by the old people.
Yeah.
And so I too remember this feeling of like deep loneliness of, do I continue on this path of growth? Maybe I never meet another friend. You know what I mean? Like these are real fears. Like, what if I'm never gonna meet another friend? What if I'm never gonna have this thing? But like, you haven't met the new people yet, but all you're surrounded with is the old people. And I know for myself, it felt really delicate and tender because
yeah.
I just remember with my old best friend, it was just like we just like kept trying to find ways to find the bridge of like, well, what is it that we can talk about? And it was just like, it was like, no, we can't talk about this. We can't talk about, we can't. And it just felt
Yeah.
painful and frustrating. And then it was just like hard. And then like now we're both avoiding because we don't want to, nobody wants to fuck up, but nobody knows what we can talk about because everything seems to bring up something. And so I don't know, like from everybody, like what is the guidance that you have for people on the path? Like I haven't met the chosen family yet. I just am kind of feeling alone with the growth.
Yeah.
How am I supporting myself here?
Yeah. The quick answer is honor the incubation period. Right. It's like this is a cycle and rhythm. And I want to like validate and honor the challenge of that experience. And I've been there, and it gets better. And the only thing that I think we have, or maybe that we're even able to really focus on, is like what is true to you and what is in resonance with you. And you got to hold that close. There's something else that kind of goes along with this conversation around like, decide what you want to share with other people. And this is across the board, like not just old family, but maybe new friends as well. It's like if you have a new idea, a new seed of thought inside of yourself, and it's still like germinating and still sprouting, like you keep that close to you so that you're not inviting anyone else's energy in. And so if you're doing your inner work and you have this new version of you that is still brand new and it's soft and vulnerable, then you don't have to share that with everybody around you. You get to keep that close and nurture it. And then when you find someone that you feel safe with, you can share that with them, and you get to connect with them in that way, and you get to build that resonance. So I think, the other piece that I was mentioning is like cycles and rhythms. It's like finding, how do you say it? It's like
For
really,
those who don't know, can you say
yeah,
like cycles and rhythms?
yeah, sure. Cycles and rhythms are rule the universe, right? So we have day and night. You have your moon cycle. You have uh, you have all different cycles like that are happening inside of your physical body and outside in your physical world, like the seasons and everything. Some of these are just like easy facts for us. They're really, autumn is here, summer is here, whatever. It's very easy to see. Others are a little bit more challenging for, especially for like Western trained minds, right? Like we think that we're always supposed to be productive, and it's not true at all. And we're always supposed to be social, or we're always supposed to be on and charismatic and extroverted and outgoing and all these things, and none of that's true. And what is true is that we have the ebbs and flows of everything, just like the tides of the ocean go in and out. And so our relationships are going to go in and out as well. And that's with your chosen family and with your old your blood family or your old friends or whatever it is. And that's okay. And I think the more we accept that, the easier it is to enjoy the process. and also to find peace in it, because it's really easy to get worked up when you feel like you're supposed to be really productive at work or something. You're making, like, I need to make money. I work for myself, so there's like the money can be an ebb and a flow as well. So rather than getting stressed out about not making tons of cash this week, I can actually allow that incubation period, which is an important part of that cycle and rhythm. I can allow that incubation period to recharge me, re-inspire me, so that I can re-enter that productivity phase of the cycle in a really powerful way, rather than kind of resisting the whole process.
Cool.
Yeah.
Love that. Thank you for breaking that down for us. I would love to tackle that part of the question too. I remember as I was starting to lose my friends because I didn't want to like drink all the time. And I was like, guys, you know, there's more to life than like partying all the time and like
What?
working a dead end job and like rinse, repeat. And those people were like, I don't get it. And they started to fall away. I think an important thing for this person is to find spaces where it is so welcome for you to be authentic. You know, I realized that once I got into growth work that I loved growth work. And like, actually, if I hung out or went to, for me, it was seminars, right? I loved the growth and expansion of seminars. I started to hang out and become part of this growth minded community. And not all the people that helped me on the path are still my friends, but it opened up this realm of possibility that I wasn't. There were moments of loneliness of like, man, I wish these people would come with me. But then there was also this realm of hope because I met all these people that were also just deeply in this how great can we be path. And that having a place to be authentically me, who I was becoming, was beneficial. So I would invite this person to up level, you know, like go into those spaces where you can up level and people are encouraging your leveling up. And some people might come with you and a lot of them won't. And that's we got to be okay with that too.
Yeah, you actually just filled in a missing piece for me, because this is something that I did that I guess I wasn't super conscious about. But part of what I was saying earlier is like you keep finding what resonates with you, and you keep answering that question, what do I want? And like I even have it on my like kind of vision space over here. It's a constant reminder, like, what do I want? What do I want? Like tuning yourself to your inner guidance system. And the more you do that, and actively searching and exploring and looking for the things that make your heart sing, I think you'll naturally find yourself in those spaces where you get to be authentically you. And the more you do that, the more you're going to find your people, because those people are also going to be in those spaces.
Yeah. Yeah. That's where we found each other.
That is where we found each other.
We found each other too, Kyle.
Yeah, 100%. I was going to say, yeah.
We all found each other in those spaces, and they're some of the most powerful friendships. And
yeah, and they might surprise you too. Like when I met you, Lisette, at I think it was at Huna, I guess, it was like after everything was done, right? Was when we kind of connected, and I was like, who's this girl? And I was like, she seems cool or whatever. And then like the connection just kept coming back around and around and around, and it got deeper and deeper and deeper. And now, like, I adore you and your wife, and we like, I can tell that this is lifelong love, and it's not something that I anticipated or was even necessarily expecting or looking for. But the more I showed up in my space, and by my space I mean like the spaces that resonate with me, the more people I found that I resonate with. So that's where chosen family comes from. You choose it.
You choose it. I am noticing with everything that we guys are saying that for me there was particular pain around wanting to hold on to things as they were, and it was like I was okay with changing, but then it was like I'm changing and the things around me are changing, and so there was like this gripping of trying to keep relationships the way they'd always been, or these kinds of things that weren't serving me, and that was also part of the pain. And something that I am becoming more familiar with is releasing control, and like how can you be in a space of flow of like, like you're saying, the cycles and rhythms. I was phone friends with this person at that point in our journey. Now we just text each other dank memes, and that's okay. Like, like this, like, sometimes you like have a summer with somebody. It's like, we're gonna do this thing. And then it's like sometimes the pain comes in holding on to wanting the relationship to continue in some certain way that it was expressing itself, and not allowing that growth and that transition, the cycles and rhythms to flow.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a moment that I realized that I didn't have to be best friends with all of my friends every second of my life. And that gave me a lot of freedom. Like I lost some friends because of that, because they still live in that reality where it's like, if you're not calling me, if you don't show up for everything that is important to me, if you aren't here, then you don't count, or something like that. And I lived that way for a while. But now all of the closest friends that I have, I know that if I didn't talk to them for a year or 5 years, and I hit them up and said, hey, I want to come visit, they would absolutely do it. And it would be like we just hung out yesterday, because we have unconditional love underneath that. And it doesn't matter if we don't talk all the time. We still love each other. We're still family, and we recognize that. And so I think opening up to the cycles and rhythms, and letting go of the resistance, like the death grip that you have on keeping it this particular way, which is really just a limitation, right? Because as soon as you let go of it, it can actually blossom into something even richer.
Yeah. If you love something, let it go. Is that what they say?
That's what Mariah Carey said.
Well, it must be true.
Words. Gosh, something that this writer said that was just so like hit me in such a deep place was like, the people who closest to them are the deepest mirrors of like what the paradigm used to be, and like how confronting that can be. Like I love all of you guys' conversation about like you can keep them close and like let it evolve, and like I'm here for that. But I remember there was a part of me that was just like, I have to run away from it because like I can't look at it. It's horrible to look at,
Yeah.
This is my interpretation of like seeing some of the ways that I used to show up, or how mean I used to be to myself, or how down I used to be on myself. And it was just like, and yeah, do you guys have any words of wisdom of like how to navigate that space when it's like the mirror is confronting to said person?
It's like, honor the space that you need. I don't really talk to my family very much.
Yeah.
I hope that my mom doesn't listen to this podcast, but I don't really talk to my family very much, because when I do, it's exhausting.
Yeah.
And they're just in a different place, and I try to do the validation thing, but it's out of resonance. And that's not true for every single one of them, but for almost all of them it is. And so that's okay. It took me a long time to be okay with that. And I think I was in that space too, where it was like, just that whole corner of my life was a confrontation in my mind. And also it was just like covered in a burrito of shame and guilt, so it was hard, and it's still hard sometimes, but I also I'm getting better and better at accepting it for what it is and allowing it to be what it is. and then refocusing on like building the things that feel really good, which is like relationships like we have, the relationships that I have with my chosen family here that I live on this queer commune space with, like the more I invest in those relationships, the more I invest in the people that show up for me, the richer my life becomes. And it doesn't mean that I've cut out my family.
Yeah.
If they called me, I would answer the phone. They don't call. So, it's like, I think there's a lot of like forgiveness work here, and a lot of acceptance work to be done.
Absolutely. And I would say it's a little bit graduate level, but seeing that in them that you used to possess it's just shadow work. But that is its own journey that you have to be ready for. I find that when I first started doing the work, I had to swing way into the positive. Speaking of, like, that was the cycle I needed to swing into because I was so negative,
Mm.
and so I had to, like, see things in the positive light and all this. And I realized as I matured in my work that it's just shadow work to accept every part of yourself. Like the parts
Mhm.
that you don't like, that they're like, oh, why are they like that? It's like, you know, you know,
Yeah.
The call is inside the house.
yeah, you
Yeah.
got it, you got it. Like, it's inside of you. And so it's an
Yeah.
opportunity to look at that and go, okay, I love that within me. I forgive that within me. Like, there's a part of me that can still get a little down sometimes and see the worst of the worst. And can I love that inside of me now? Because then it stops showing up on the outside. Again, that's
Mhm.
graduate level, like baby steps.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a lifelong process too. Like, I mean, I'm talking about this, but like I don't have it all figured out.
You don't
And
have all the
What?
answers?
Hang up this call.
right, right.
This
I
call
joke
is
about this with
over.
my clients sometimes because they're like, they'll ask me a question and like, shit, that's a good question. And like, I don't know. But it's like it always comes back to the same thing though. It's like, are you being true to yourself? Are you being authentic? And if you're not, like how like why are you not? It's like, oh, you're trying to people please your parents because you want them to love you. Like, okay, well, let's have a conversation about that and see, what's going to serve you best. You being true to yourself or you people pleasing somebody who's not going to be happy anyway. I'm like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Been there.
Yeah. Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's particularly prevalent. Well, maybe this is just my reality, but I think it's particularly prevalent in the LGBTQ community, where a lot of us grew up kind of feeling less than, or like we weren't good enough, or there's something wrong with us, and then we find ourselves. I and most of my clients have found ourselves in that space of trying to make up for being wrong or being not the right thing or not good enough. And then that leads us into this space where, like, instead of asking yourselves like, what do I want, and going and vibing with the spaces and the people that really resonate with you, instead we find ourselves kind of keeping ourselves small and trying to fit into what everybody else around you wants. And I can tell you, I did that. I did the career that everybody thought I was supposed to do. I got the marriage that everybody thought I was supposed to do. I lived in the city that I thought I was supposed to live. I did all of it, and it was the worst fucking thing. And I ended all of it, and I quit my career. I went through divorce. I left Los Angeles, and now I live in the woods in a tree house, literally, surrounded by my friends. And everything is magic. And so all of that happened just because I started saying yes to me.
Mm.
So
Mm.
that's the most important piece of all of this. It's not the relationships, whether you like them or not. It's like, just saying yes to you, following your inner guidance system.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
the most powerful thing. How do you say yes to you?
Yeah. This, what it's bringing to light for me is, a metaphor I always give my clients is, when we first do this release work, like, you were a caterpillar, then we did some release work, and now you're going in the goo. The caterpillar goes through this process of impaling itself, turning into goo, and from that goo reforming its cells into this butterfly. And it's like, when you're in the goo, it's uncomfortable. You think like it's over and it's death, and then you're not going to get into the next phase. And then you're out and you're butterfly, but we don't speak caterpillar anymore. And then it's like
Hmm.
hard for us to communicate this thing, like, you're going to be great and it's going to be magnificent. And your magnificence is going to can freak people out.
Totally.
They don't speak butterfly
Yeah. I
yet.
think there's an opportunity for patience and understanding here too, with, like, kind of to take your metaphor in a little bit of a different direction. Like, there's one that I've heard before where you go and you do the work, and your machinery, your internal machinery gets upgraded. So this cog changes shape and size, and then you go back out into your day-to-day world, and your cogs don't fit the world around you anymore. And so you kind of, like, it doesn't mean that the whole world has to be rejected, like your whole old world, but it does mean that your parents and your old best friend are going to have to they need an opportunity to get to know the new you.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that you guys can't still be friends or find something to talk about. Maybe it does, and that's okay. But it does mean that, like, you just went through this change, and they need to like re-meet the butterfly version of you, right? And so it's a new relationship, and that takes time. And I think we have these expectations. Here they are again. I think we have those expectations as like, well, we were awesome for the last 20 years. Why isn't it awesome now? It's like, girl, you just changed. Give her a second.
Yes.
Yeah, that hits the nail on the head. Man, thank you, Kyle, so much for taking this topic on with us, because we've discussed this very recently. And so I knew you were the person to have this conversation with. So thank you for offering your wisdom, your guidance to this person. I appreciate you for, being in the field with us.
Yeah.
It's my greatest joy.
Yay.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, that was such a great episode.
So great. Kyle is so wise. We all are.
Yeah, we are also wise. And I think we popped his podcast cherry.
Oh, baby's first podcast.
I know.
Yes.
Till the end of time, when he's super famous and on all these podcasts, we could say we were the first.
Yes, I guess so. Yes, but I really appreciated what he inspired me to think about. I was very much for where I have been in the past, like, leave them.
Leave them. Have you thought about disappearing completely?
Just leave them. And that was my own reaction and my own shit. And sometimes appropriate, but he also opened the path of like, there can be many other ways. Like, can you be okay if like maybe you and this person only talk about the weather? Like, can you just let that be okay? Yeah. And it was just like, I could. I
suppose I could let that be okay. Wouldn't that be a concept?
I know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. We learn.
Remind me to never get on your bed. So.
I'm very forgiving. You're the Sag.
That's true.
I'm an Aquarius. We're very forgiving people.
Are you? Are you?
Not if you cross me. Bye. No,
Bye. Yeah, I know. And I just really appreciate about, the incubation phase.
Yeah.
Of like your growth and honoring it, and maybe not perhaps not sharing the fullness of that.
Yeah.
When it's not fully grown,
Absolutely. I mean, that's advice we give people after our retreats.
100%. Yeah, we do. So yeah, thank you so much. Up level, like, we appreciate your question. This question was chef's kiss. Yeah, something we wanted to cover. So we appreciate you. If you have a question, give us a call at 971-895-4111. And if you've listened this far, why don't you just give it a like and a share and subscribe, all the things, and just, help us move up on that algorithm.
Absolutely. And until we meet again, be honest with each other.
Yeah.